everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Idiot Quilter. It is episode number 299, and it is February the 18th, 2025. I hope everybody had a good weekend and had a great week last week, and I hope you've got something special happening this week that will bring you joy. It's always good to have something to look forward to. So, speaking of which, let's take a look at my latest projects, and here we go. This is Cornered Stars. It is my own original pattern. This is version 2. You know that in version 1 I found one little mistake which was repeated throughout the quilt. And well, that quilt I'm not getting rid of. I'm going to quilt it eventually. And maybe it'll be a donation quilt. But I call it Sailboats and Stars. But this is Cornered Star. And it's the one that I intended to make. Now, if you remember what the other one looked like, and you probably don't because I barely remember what they look like, I had a different color scheme in the center of the quilt for all the two different star blocks. I didn't have any more of that fabric, and I redid this whole quilt again. So I picked these colors instead. And you want to know something? I like this color combination actually better. So maybe it was just serendipitous that I had that mistake in the first version, because otherwise I wouldn't have redone it and discovered this color scheme. And the reason I really like this color scheme is because you can see a secondary pattern emerging more clearly from the center of the quilt than you could on the first version of the quilt. And I like that. And I think it makes the quilt, the overall quilt, more interesting because of that as well. So now I have to get it on Lucy and get it long-armed. And for those of you that might be new to my channel, Lucy is my long arm. That's the name, her name. She came with that name, actually. I didn't give it to her. APQS, which is what Lucy is, or who the manufacturer is, names their long arms. So mine happens to be named Lucy. Anyways, I digress. I need to get this on Lucy and quilt it. But I was looking through my stash of wide back fabrics, and you know, it's always the same, isn't it? You can never find the most perfect color, even though you may have a stash that, well, is the size of a quilt shop. That's what it is for me. So I looked through, and I looked through a couple of times. I finally found one that I think is going to work. I like to make my binding from my leftover wide back fabric after I've quilted so that my binding matches what's on the back of the quilt. It's a way that if for some reason you weren't able to see the back of the quilt, you would have an idea of what the fabric would be like on the backing. And I like the contrast. And I think what I picked out, it is a blue. It will work for both the backing and for the binding. So I'm hoping, if I get up enough steam here this morning, to get this all onto Lucy and get it quilted. You know, I was saying to a friend of mine the other day about long arming, who also has a long arm. Well, that friend is Russ from Quilt Meets World. And I said to him, do you always dread having to set up your long arm so you can quilt? And he said, yep, he had the same feelings as I do. It isn't that it's difficult, but there's a lot of bulk of things you have to move around. And you're at the front of your machine and you're at the back of your machine, and you're at this side and that side and this way and that way. It seems like it takes an eternity to get the quilt all set up, ready to do the quilting. The actual quilting part of it, especially for me because I have a computerized system, doesn't take all that long. And as long as Lucy is behaving, I can be a very, very happy camper at that point. It's when Lucy decides she wants to do her own thing, and believe me, these long arms do have brains of their own. I can tell you that. AI intelligence has been in them a lot longer than AI has been in the world, I swear. But anyways, yeah. So I don't know what I'm going to use for a quilting pattern. I have to look through my list of different ones that I have. I don't know if I should go with, I think I have one pattern that is Stars and Swirls, which might look okay, might be kind of interesting, because usually when you have a really what I call a linear quilt, or a quilt with a lot of geometric shapes to it, but then again, what quilt doesn't? That's how they're made, right? But you know what I mean. A lot more straight lines than curvy pieces or curvy lines or the illusion of curvy lines. I like to use something that has some curves to it for variety. And vice versa. If I have a quilt that has a lot of curvy pieces or looks curvy, I like to use something that's a little bit more straight line. On this one, if I use the one that is a combination of stars and swirls, I have the best of both worlds. So I don't know. I'll have to look through my stuff, as I said, and see what grabs me, and away you go. You know, really, the quilting of a quilt, in my mind, is kind of secondary to the actual design and the pattern of the quilt. And you don't want a quilting design that overpowers the design of the quilt. You want it to enhance it. So you don't want it to be the thing that people's eyes focus on, unless it purposely has been like densely quilted and possibly custom quilted, usually in custom quilting. And I can see when you custom quilt a quilt that you really want your quilting to stand out, because custom quilting takes a long time and a lot of talent. I don't have that talent. That's why I use a computer. So yeah, those are some of my thoughts on quilting this quilt, and we'll see what happens. And hopefully I will get it quilted today, put my mind to it, and then all I'll have to do is bind it. And yeah, so maybe next week I'll be able to show you the finished version. Now, about the pattern for this cornered stars, I will be releasing the pattern, and it will be free, and it'll be up on my YouTube channel for you to download sometime in the very near future. I'm debating whether I will put it out before I have my spring retreat, or I will bring it out at the spring retreat, and those people that come to the spring retreat will get first dibs at it. But as I said, and that's probably what I'm going to do, but I have a hard time sitting on things after I've got them done. I like to get them out into the world. But I think I'm going to try. So sorry if some of you are looking forward for that and were hoping that I was going to release it right now, because I'm not. I'm a big tease. But I do have 2 other patterns. Many of you know this, but some of you may be new. Oops, there go the balloons. I shouldn't have done that with my fingers. But just come back here to me. But if you're new to the channel, in my show notes, and some people have trouble finding show notes, okay, on not just my channel, other channels. It's very easy. They don't pop up instantly. Underneath where you're watching the video and where it's got the description of the video, you will see some words written across there, whatever the creator has put in, and then you will see 3 dots and the word more. Click on the word more, and a new menu will expand down from the top, and that's the show notes. And that's where us as YouTube creators often put links and other important information related to the video. That's where it's located. So if you go in there on any of my videos, you will find 2 permanent links that take you to my Google Drive and allow you to download my first 2 patterns absolutely free. They're in PDF format. I do not charge for my patterns. So there you go. You might wonder why I don't charge for my patterns. Well, there's several reasons, but one of them is you can't bitch at me if you find a mistake, because you didn't, and you can't demand your money back because you didn't pay anything for it. But no, if you do find a mistake, though, do let me know, because I will update the pattern. I spend a great deal of time editing the patterns. I want them to be very clear. I want them to be error-free, and I want you to have a good experience with patterns. And I do that because I have had some really bad experiences with poorly written patterns in the past. And they're ones that I paid big bucks for as well. So, you know, I do not want to give you a less than high quality product, put it that way. Even if I'm not making any money from it, that doesn't matter. It's my pride and my integrity that's on the line. Yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Okay, another project that I just finished, and let me get things up here, is this little guy. And this was fun. Now, you may remember my Valentine's Day gnome, and he was a lot of fun to make. Well, this is in the same series, but this is the St. Patty's Day gnome. And these come from designs by Juju. And I have a feeling they're probably going to put out one of these for each of the important holiday events during the year. Now, I know they have an Easter Bunny gnome one, but you can't get that yet. They want you to buy $30 worth of their product and you'll get it free. So I think when we get closer to Easter that, they will probably put that up as a standalone product and I'll be able to buy it then and get it. Or I buy $30 worth of files, and that's not hard to do. But I'll see about that. But right now, I think he's really cute, and he's on my sewing room cabinet cupboard doors, right up with him, with the other guy, the Valentine's Day gnome. And if you remember way back, my what I call Uncle Bob one. He's not a gnome, but he originally started out as Uncle Sam because he was, done as that. But I changed him into Canadian colors and fabrics, and I call him Uncle Bob. Yeah. So they're fun to do. They don't take long. And I did do a video on how to do these. I used the Valentine's Day gnome for that a couple of weeks ago on the So Chatty. It'll be in the So Chatty playlist. But this one I didn't do a video for because basically you make them exactly the same way. The only difference is the colors that you use and the little shamrock, whatever's he's holding in his hands. This time it's a shamrock. Last time it was a heart, and I imagine the Easter one will be a Easter egg or something to that effect. So they're fun, they're cute, and they're done in the hoop in your embroidery machine. Sorry, you can't do them on a domestic sewing machine, and you can't really do them by hand. Well, why would you want to? Although, mind you, when you buy these, they do have what they call a DST file with them, and you could just stitch out the DSD file and scan it, or photocopy it from your copy machine, your print machine, and you could probably do it as hand applique. You'd have the pieces. So there is a possibility that you could do it that way. I think it would be a lot of work, and I don't know if it's worth it, but, whatever. And I'm sure there are hand applique or machine applique gnomes out there somewhere that other people have created that you could get your hands on. So yeah, that's what I've been working on. So what's coming up? What's happening? Well, we have Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen on Wednesdays, 9 a.m. start time. That's Eastern time. All are welcome. It is a private Zoom. The link is in the show notes. Yada, 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 yada. Yeah, I say this every week. So, it's a broken record. And join us. If you've never joined us before and you're shy, don't be shy. We're a fun group. We're a fun group. Most of us can speak properly, except for me. Yeah. Okay, so what happened this week on So Chatty? Well, we have started our new series about making a tote bag in the hoop using your embroidery machine. And the first part is up, where Walter and I went through the pattern and talked to you about the pitfalls, things to be aware of, and how to get set up for starting this project. And we showed you our fabric selections. And I changed my fabrics since that video. So this week in part 2, we'll show you actually how you go about stitching out the panels for the bag. The bag is made up of 6 panels, 2 of each kind. So there's 2 center panels, 2 left panels, 2 right panels, and they're exactly the same. But we show you how to do the stitching out, how to have your machine set up and everything, and take you through the process for the center panel. So that's on this week's So Chatty. We've also received our faux leather that we're going to use for the bottom of the bags as well. Now, I'm a little bit ahead of Walter on his bag, so we'll see what he has to show us come this Friday on So Chatty. if he gets caught up or not to me. We'll see. And we're using different fabrics. So yeah, and I really haven't looked at his fabrics, and he hasn't really looked at my well, yes, we did. We looked at them on last week on So Chatty, but I don't remember what he picked. And what I showed on So Chatty last week were totally different fabrics than what I am actually going to be using. Okay, so that's on Friday. Stay tuned for that. All right, so that takes us to Subscribers Quilt of the Week. This comes from a subscriber and friend, Lydia Yates. And Lydia does wonderful, wonderful quilts. And she is not afraid to go out on a limb and move outside of her comfort zone to try something new. And the end results are always beautiful. And you may remember Lydia if you were at my retreat last fall. Lydia was one of my guest presenters. So here's Lydia's latest, and well, I don't know if it's her latest, but it is one of her beautiful creations for sure. This week's subscriber's quilt comes from Lydia Yates, and Lydia Yates has been a long-time subscriber to my channel, and Lydia and I were at the same retreat in Dahlonega with Stephanie this past December, and I've met Lydia in person before that at the Canadian National Quilt Show in Halifax about a year or so ago, 2 years ago now, almost. And Lydia does wonderful work, and those of you that were on my retreat last fall, Lydia was there talking about her quilting journey and showing us other examples of her beautiful work. And this is one here as well. And Lydia loves to do things that are a bit of a challenge, and they always come out wonderful. And she says, here is a finished project, 60 by 30 applique pattern by Laser Cut Quilts, photographed on an angle so you can see the quilting a bit better. Inside of the whale is pebbled all around the applique, but couldn't capture it on camera. Well, it's absolutely stunning, and I do love the quilting, and it looks like waves and on the water, which I think is very fitting for this particular applique. A lot of little pieces to sew around and sew down. So Lydia, you have the patience of a saint. I don't think I would have that much patience for that kind of thing, but the end result is absolutely stunning, and I'm sure it adds a great deal to your sewing environment, and probably makes you very, very happy when you see it, because it makes me very happy seeing it as well. So thank you, Lydia, for sharing this with us. It's absolutely wonderful. Okay, so that takes me to YouTube video of the week. Now, this one, I've been doing a lot of talking about making my own patterns and the trials and tribulations of doing that, because if you've never written a pattern before, I can tell you this, it is not for the shy and the inexperienced. Writing a pattern, what's going on with my mustache? Looks like I have a bald spot in my mustache over on this side. Everything's in reverse. That's why my fingers are going around like I'm an epileptic, but I'm not. That's weird. Oh well, okay. Squirrel. Um, what was I saying? Oh yeah. Pattern writing is not easy. Neither is it easy to keep my brain on track today. No, pattern writing is not easy. And there are people in the world whose job, it's hired by quilting magazines to do what's called technical editing. And what they do is they go through the pattern and basically look for errors or for better ways to word something or that kind of thing. And believe me, it's good that these companies have these people because, as I said, pattern writing can be very, very difficult. So I found this YouTube clip, and it's from Karen Brown of Just Get It Done Quilts. I'm sure you're familiar with her. She likes to interview a lot of different people, and she interviewed a lady from Scotland called Paula Hope, who is a technical editor. This week's YouTube video clip comes from Karen's Quilt Circle of Just Get It Done Quilts, and she interviews a lot of very interesting people on a regular basis, and this is another one. A lady called Paula Hope, who does pattern editing for a magazine that comes out of the UK. She is from Scotland herself, but this was a very fascinating, in-depth look at what it is, what a technical editor is. These are people who look at people's patterns that have been submitted for magazines for publishing and go through it to make sure that they are clearly written and in a style that fits with the magazine's priorities. I found the whole process really interesting because as a pattern writer myself, I know how difficult it really can be. A lot of people think you just sit down, write a pattern, and it's over in 10 minutes. It is not. And technical editors are definitely something that are needed because, well, if you've ever done a pattern that was not clearly written, you'll know exactly why a technical editor earns their money. So if you want to know more about this, get an inside look at how this process works, then you'll want to check out Let's Talk About Pattern Editing with Paula Hope on Karen's Quilt Circle. Okay, so that takes me to future projects. Well, I'm on a real quick kick lately. I'm doing a lot of things in the hoop on my embroidery machine. And so I came across this pattern. For one, it's called Koru. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. K-O-R-U. It's a placemat, but it's a little different type of placemat. In fact, I don't think I would use it as a placemat, but here's what I'm talking about. This week's future project is another in the hoop project. I love absolutely using my embroidery machine to make things like this. It fascinates me to no end how a machine can do this, but this is another project that I think is somewhat unique. Don't really like the colors that they're showing here in it, but I'm sure it would look stunning in other colors as well. And that's the beauty of doing these kind of things. You can choose whatever you want to use as your fabric or as your thread color. This one is called the Koru placemat in the hoop, and it is, as it says, it's a placemat. It would make a neat little table topper, and what attracted me to it was the uniqueness of the design. Now it looks like you can do this in two ways. There's this little piece that sits on top. I don't know if that comes with the pattern or not. I'll have to take a closer look to see how this works out, but nevertheless, you could do anything. Yeah, it does. No, it doesn't. Yes, it does. No, it doesn't. I'm not sure. But either way, it does give you some versatility to put something else, a smaller design on top if you wished. It's on sale, or it was on sale when I purchased it. Creative Kiwi is in New Zealand, and it was $7.50 US. But you do have the ability to switch over to the currency of your country, as I'm showing you here. So Canadian, I paid for it $7.50 because the New Zealand dollar is about the same as our dollar, which is really nice for us Canadians when we're ordering from Creative Kiwi. But they always comes with full instructions for it, and many times Creative Kiwi actually has a YouTube video showing you how to do one of their projects. I haven't checked this one out yet to see if they have one for this, but this does not look too complicated. It's basically an in the hoop applique and embroidery, so very easy, and I'm sure this can be done in probably a couple of hours or less as well. So again, another great gift idea that's a little bit different if you're thinking in those terms. So you may want to check this out. This is on Creative Kiwi, and I have the link for it in the show notes below. So that pattern is from Creative Kiwi, and I think I have the link to it in the show notes below. So if you're interested in it, you can go and get it from Creative Kiwi. Creative Kiwi, by the way, and that's with a K for creative and Kiwi as in the fruit, or as in the New Zealander, because Creative Kiwi comes from New Zealand. That's where they're located. Okay, so what have I been working on the past week? Well, I've told you some things, but here's a little video I made showing you how not so busy I really was. So what am I working on this week? Well, I didn't have a very productive week. Then again, I did. but, well, this is here. This is in pieces. This is the In the Hoop St. Patrick's Day gnome from Designs by Juju. I need to sew him together, and at the time of filming this today. Over here on the project table, I pulled up a project that I've had for a long time. It's a kit. It is Tula Pink. It's called Solar Flare Quilt Kit. It is a paper piecing kit, and it comes with all the fabrics. They're all Tula, and it's really pretty. And I bought this, I think it was just before the pandemic started. So I've had it for about 5 years. And I've never done it. And in fact, it sat on the back of a shelf and I forgot all about it until this past weekend. Some of the people I was sewing with were talking about doing a sew along with another pattern by Tula Pink, a butterfly, and it reminded me of this one. So I thought I'd dig it out, and I've put it here on my project table so that I can get to it at some point. It is a paper piecing though, and I don't like paper piecing all that well, so I don't know. The other thing is to strip the kit apart and put the fabrics into another use. I don't know, we'll see. Anyways, this you've already seen, got it done. It's the cornered stars, my cornered stars pattern. That one's got to get on Lucy, and I've got to get it quilted so I get it all finished up. Mystery box, it's filament, which arrived the other day. I haven't opened it yet, and I need to figure out what I'm printing on my printers. I'll look at a few things, and I have been making some little trinkets and that, but I'm getting tired of it. Like I made this little guy here. He was fun. And I made a few other little thingies, not these. Oh, this guy. This guy's a scream. There he is, little gnome bum. I know. Am I 14 years old? Some days. And that's about all I've been up to this week. Oh, I did get my quilt for Stephanie's retreat that I'll be teaching. I'll quilt it, the sample. Actually, I have 3 samples. This is my last sample, but I can't show it to you because I'm not revealing it until I get to the retreat. So anyways, that's what I've been up to. Lots of projects. Oh yeah, I've been working on the So Chatty bag as well. We're doing, Walter and I are doing the series on that. And there's a panel of it right there. And oh yeah, there's the little guy that you saw in pieces a moment ago. So, yep, that's what I've been working on this week. Okay, so that brings me to the online quilt store of the week. And just as a sideline before we get into it, my friend Lydia sent me a list, a PDF file that she found somewhere that listed all kinds of quilting stores across Canada. Now, every week when I do a review, I have to go on the internet and search. And there's a whole lot out there that for some reason Google doesn't pick up on, one way or another. So when I saw this list, when I printed it out, and thank you so much, Lydia, for sending that to me. It's a godsend. It was 14 pages long. I didn't know we had that many quilt stores in Canada. Apparently we do. So what I'm doing now is I'm picking from that list each week and to review the store if they have an online presence. Some of them don't. Some of them have just a Facebook presence, and I don't review the ones that just have a Facebook presence. And the reason for that is usually you have to join them like a group. And that's just too much trouble for me to go for that. Also, and okay, some of you will not be happy with what I'm about to say, but the other thing is I don't trust a store that has a Facebook page only and not a website. I mean, I know it's probably a cheaper route to go, but in saying that, it's also usually a more difficult route for finding things. Now, I know there's a couple out there that I've come across that are really good on Facebook, but I don't go to them on a regular basis, mainly because, I don't know, I don't want to do business through Facebook. I really don't. It's just me, probably. If you've got some favorites, they're on Facebook, that's great. Don't bother sending me the link to them because I'm not going to review them, as I've already said. I'm not. But, they're working for you. Then great. That's wonderful. Go for it. Okay, so this one is called Country North Quilt Shop. This week's online quilt store is called Country North Quilt Shop and is located in Bancroft, Ontario. And I do believe they have a physical store as well as an online store. So if I'm ever up in the Bancroft area, someday I will go in and visit them. But let's jump right in, take a look at their homepage. It's a fairly clean, clear-cut homepage. And there's a menu right on the side, or not a menu, but you know what I mean, a directory on the side. So they have sewing supplies, fabric by collection, by theme, by type, kits, patterns, knitting and crocheting, and shop gifts. So let's jump right into their fabric. Let's try fabric type to start with. They have batiks, flannel, fleece, panels, pre-cuts, quilting cotton, wide backing, and yarn dyed cotton. So let's take a look at quilting cotton. And prices at first glance look really inexpensive at $4.99. I'm sure that's for a 1/4 meter. Do they tell you that up front? They do not. So let's just go into one and take a look. Yes, here we go. Prices based on a 1/4 meter increments. So that would make it just about $20 a meter, which is about middle of the road price-wise. So let's go back here and take a look at what they have. Dragonfly Lagoon. I'm not sure who that is by. They've got 94 pages though. So that is a fairly good selection. Let's check it out by collection. Oh, it does it by A, B, C, D, E, and then okay, that's a little different. Oh, but if you expand it, you see. So here we go. Okay, well, let's go in, and I always like to look for Northcott since it is a Canadian manufacturer. And let us see here. Well, that's something. They do not have Northcott. Well, that doesn't impress me much. You know, especially right now at the time of recording this, we need to be supporting Canadian manufacturers. Okay, let's look for well, these all look like, oh, it says by collection, so by designer, I guess. Canadian Classics. I don't know what that is, but let's check it out. Oh, here we go. This is Northcott. And $4.49 for a 1/4 meter, so 20 bucks, $21 for it. Not much to choose from, however, in that line. A Stitch in Time. What is that? And they have one. Okay. Let's check by theme. This is Canada. Okay, let's check Canadian theme one. Okay, so they have the O Canada series. They have, oh, this is interesting though. I've never seen these panels, one for each province. Where's Ontario? We don't have one for Ontario. Did I miss it? Okay, they don't have Ontario. Okay, that's disappointing too. But they have some more of the O Canada fabric here. 2 pages. A lot of this is old. Yeah, a lot of this is old design here. And not much of a selection in that. Okay. At my first glance of all of this, I thought this was going to be great. I don't think I like this alphabetical one. Because I don't, more my problem than theirs, I suppose. I don't do Quilting Treasures. What's Quilting Treasures? And there's only a couple of them there. Okay, let's go back by theme again. And I don't know. Let's say, let's check text. A few things here. Nothing's really jumping up and grabbing me though. I'm getting a sense that a lot of the stuff that is here is old. Do they have a section about what's new? No, they don't. by the looks of things. Okay, well, let's jump down to kits. Quilts and wall hangings. Okay. Well, their kits are fairly traditional in design. I'm not seeing anything here is jumping out at me, though, that I haven't seen before. Patterns. Quilts and wall hangings. Again, and not much to choose from here at all. And these are old. There's nothing really that exciting here or new under the sun. Okay. They do have knitting and crocheting, just for those that are interested. I'm not going to check that out. And they sell yarn. Under sewing supplies, we have, let's check out the thread. Oh, they have a drop down for the thread. So the cotton, polyester, silk. Okay, cotton. It's Gutermann. A good name and thread. Price-wise, I'm not sure if this is good or not because I don't buy Gutermann. And they have 6 pages of that. Okay, so if you're into Gutermann, and I don't think that price is unfair, those are just 100 meter, 110 yard spools. What else was in the thread? Hand quilting, heavy duty top stitching, polyester, and it's all Gutermann. So it looks like that seems to be their thread of choice is Gutermann. They have webbing, they have elastic, rulers, zippers, batting. Okay, let's take a, oops, I want to go back here and take a look at their batting. Coming soon. Okay. So no batting or stabilizers or interfacing. No. Okay. Cutting tools, liquids. Liquids. Fabric booster, sewing machine oil. Okay. Marking tools, cutting tools. Well, they have rotary cutter replacement blades, but they don't have rotary cutters. Okay, that's unusual. Marking tools, needles, pins and clips, quilting tools. Look under quilting tools. That's coming soon. Nothing there. Sewing tools, storage, miscellaneous. Coming soon. Storage. Nothing to match my thing. Okay. Sewing machine parts and accessories. Coming soon. Okay, I don't know if this is a recent thing that they have put up, this website, but they seem to have a lot of empty space on here, which doesn't impress me much. Okay, what else can we look at? Well, under Shop All, what does that show us? It's spinning and spinning and spinning. Okay, so they do have buttons. Easter, elastic. So it looks like it's just everything they have in the store or online available. All the collections, and it goes on for days. Okay, so good thing they have that sidebar that breaks this down a little bit. Anything else we can say about this company? What about us? Country North has been serving Bancroft, Ontario, an area for over 25 years through our brick and mortar storefront. We are now excited to serve our customers all over Canada and the United States through our new online store. Okay, they say it's a new online store, and I would say that it is a work in progress because there's an awful lot of spots that are empty. Now, what about shipping? Here we go, shipping policy. We process and ship orders as quickly as possible, usually within 48 hours of receipt. Shipping will be through Canada Post. A price will be based on weight and size, both for Canada and the United States. There will be options at checkout for you to select the method of delivery that best suits your needs. Okay, so they're doing it through standard Canada Post, and they are not giving you any discount for a certain amount that you would buy and get free shipping on it. Okay, so that's about it for Country North Quilt Shop. I can't say as though I'm impressed. The store might be more impressive. As I said, if I was in the Bancroft area, I would probably drop in and check it out. But as an online store, it looks like a work in progress. And there's not really a great deal of selection there yet. And most of the stuff that was there, in my opinion, is older fabric lines. So if you're in that area, you may want to support them. For me, I think I'm going to give them about a 5 out of 10. Maybe we'll come back and revisit it in a year's time and see what their website looks like then, because I think it is under construction at the moment. So that's Country North Quilt Shop in Bancroft, Ontario. Okay, so that brings us to pretty much the end of the episode. What's coming up? Well, we have the sew day on Wednesday, sewing with Stephanie and Stephen. So Chatty on Friday, and of course Stephen and Walter live as always 4 p.m. Eastern Time Sunday. And I haven't figured out exactly what we're going to be talking about on Sunday, but I have a feeling I'm going to talk about something that's going to get a lot of people pissed off. Tune in. Bit of a teaser. Yeah. Could be a very serious discussion on Sunday as well. But we'll see. We'll see what comes up. I could change my mind, and it is my prerogative as a gentleman. I know what you're thinking. Don't go there. Okay, so that's about it. I can't think of anything else. So I hope you have a great week, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye for now.